Welcome back to our regular viewers.
Willkommen for those in Germany.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, our network's huge there. Um, can we say our regular listeners? Are we at that point?
I think we can. Purely, yes.
Episode 3, got to be some regulars. Yeah.
At least 50,000.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking maybe mum, mate.
My my cousin, she's on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stephen Bartlett, honestly, sweating.
Should be.
It should be.
So, episode 3, quick brew. I see you've switched up your mug there.
Switched up, yeah. So I've gone for my Goonies mug,
Yeah.
and I have gone for a coffee this time. I took inspiration from your
Really?
your previous
Caffeinated.
caffeinated, yes,
Yes.
your previous brew. How'd you have your coffee?
My favorite coffee is a flat white. But if I'm having coffee, I'd have it with milk and one sugar.
Milk. Oh, you see, I'm straight black, just
Yeah.
completely as it comes.
Yeah, there you go, mate. Why not? I like an espresso after dinner sometimes, but yeah, you know what? If I'm having a good coffee, I have it without sugar. I think that's probably the mark of whether or not I rate it.
Yeah.
If
So
it's
if I ever make you a coffee when we see each other next, and then I see the Splendor come out,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. But maybe we should dodge that controversy and just have a beer.
Just make it simple.
Fair play. Yeah,
Make
good,
it
good.
simple.
Yeah. So episode 3, we're still going. So things are going well. I think I just want to pick up straight from where we left off, probably from episode 2, and talk about. I think you said something. The school system is archaic, and again, if we're talking cliffhangers, then that's surely one of the better ones so far. Expand on it. What you're
Well,
saying?
I just think it is. I don't think schools embrace technology as much as they should. We're talking about AI and kids learning from AI. I think your topics have never really changed. I mean, and this is only I was taken through like a Roman Catholic school, Irish Roman Catholic. I was Irish Roman Catholic, and it was obviously you would have religious education within there, you know, which is obviously heavily Catholic
Y- th-
education.
there is
Everyone
a
else is
lean.
wrong.
There is a lean on that, no
Churches,
doubt.
yeah, and I think with religious education within school that I'm actually happy they're seeing this within Sienna's school. They should be taught about all cultures and all religion because I think
Absolutely.
that's what learning's about.
Hmm.
And there's not one way is the right way. I think everybody should learn about all cultures, all religions. But when I was at school, German and French were still the languages that were taught. The languages that we're taught nowadays within schools aren't probably, um, for example, like for business wise going forward. I think the best language to learn is Malaysian. I think if I could be wrong, but
Wow. Okay.
should we be adapting school more? And because the only constant in life is change.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's that's what should be happening within the school systems as well.
Hmm.
Um, they should be taught more about business acumen, about daily bills, about daily life, which we don't seem really seeing introduced into the schools. I mean, we're seeing things about gender, we're seeing things about sexual education that's changed that are being developed and brought into schools, but
Yeah.
not like real life things about what credit cards are, what credit is. I do think it is archaic.
Mm. Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting point. And look, I've got a school-age child as well, as you know. She's in secondary school. In fact, she's just taken her GCSE options now, or just made her selection for
What were
options.
her language options?
So again, it was either I think French or I don't know if it's German or Spanish, but it's one or the other. And so if she wanted to, I don't know, learn Mandarin, then again that could well be valuable in her future um, sort of roles. However, that wouldn't be laid on. And look, there's a limit. I think schools can only go so far. Um,
I bet English was still Shakespeare as well, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Guarantee that she read Of Mice and Men.
Yeah, I'm no doubt that will be in the curriculum. And again, English literature, English language, these are cornerstones and pillars of
They are
education.
cornerstones and pillars of education, but, there has been other playwrights in Shakespeare, and as brilliant as he was, it is that teaching about the modern English language. I mean, I know it's teaching about, like, the culture and English literature, Um, but I've never been into another, shop since and gone, "Hast thou a bottle of milk
Really?
for mine coffee?"
But you clearly were paying attention in school. That's good. You speak Shakespearean fluently.
It's that and Latin with
Yeah.
no, I'm joking.
Wow. Imagine, imagine. So yeah, I think one thing though I would say in terms of the modern education system is she did have the opportunity to opt out of what I would have considered some of the less flexible subjects in the past. So geography, history, they would have been historically ever present and not an
Ever present,
option.
yeah.
But she could actually opt not to do some of those humanities subjects now, whereas in the past it would have been a
Well, including geography.
can opt out of it. Yeah, absolutely. So they're educated up to it in her school.
What replaced with it? What was it replaced with?
Well, then you have your options. So, for example, my daughter has selected economics, and she chose economics over history, as an example, and felt that she would have great engagement with that. She's very strong in maths, and obviously that sits within economics as an ever present. She's interested in politics. Which we won't get onto. We don't talk politics.
That's 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 where the controversy could they said that's one rule of the podcast,
Okay,
politics are
yeah,
not spoken about.
it feels as though we're maybe writing the rule book as we go, but that should be indelibly, we don't go there, politics. So anyhow, she has an interest in politics. So economics was, I think, a good choice for her. Um,
100%.
but yeah, that struck me as maybe that is a slight change in education because in the past that would have been these subjects you're doing English lit, English language, maths, double science, humanities, which would consist of geography, history, RE, dependent upon the sort of lean of your school, and a language, and it would be. As you said, French or German. So I think there is a little more flexibility now, and some of those subjects are maybe rebranded. I think one of the subjects that she's taken is graphic communication. So that wouldn't have existed when we were at school. A version of it maybe did. So perhaps that
Graphic
is
design.
exactly maybe that is moving forward a little bit. But I think it's tough because ultimately, when you're talking about GCSEs, when you're talking about education, centrally everyone has to be aligned. You can't just have schools and colleges just doing what they fancy because they like the idea of it. There has to be a standard, but it's how often that standard is revisited.
Refreshed. Yeah.
Absolutely. And at that point, once let's say someone's decided we love fiscal education, we're going to teach everyone about money and accounting, and we're going to teach them about credit cards and what's the difference between a bank and a loan shark.
Yeah.
Um, which I think would be an awesome lesson. Once they've made that decision, then obviously they have to A, agree upon what the curriculum for that is. B, they then have to engage enough teachers that have the capacity to deliver that curriculum to the kids. So change is tough. There's a lot of friction, isn't there, in education? But I'm with you. I think it needs to move. I think it should move, and I think there's real life aspects that if they were dealt with in school I mean, yeah, starting a business as an example, it's not for everyone, and nor should it be because it's not for everyone. However, if it was covered in school, maybe with a greater focus on best practice, you shouldn't have to have a master's in business admin to be able to run a business. So I think that sort of thing could come through a little more in the general curriculum as opposed to only if you choose it as an option, if that makes sense.
No, fair, fair.
So,
I like that. So, I
so
mean,
that's the school system.
a school system.
Rinsed it a little bit. Rinsed it a little bit. Probably not the first time that's happened, I'm sure. But fair play to teachers. My mum was a teacher, and that's got to be one of the more challenging roles, hasn't it?
Actually, I definitely couldn't do it. I haven't got the patience.
Likewise, absolutely, I would struggle.
I show the patience of a saint most days, but I think that I mean, as an example, just been on an amazing holiday to Corfu, with my sister and her 4 children, that she fosters, and my Sienna. Yeah, it was I've never been on a holiday with 5 kids before. There were a lot less arguments than we were expecting, in all honesty and in all fairness, they
It's a
were
result.
brilliant.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the 5 kids, was enough.
So
for me.
so consider multiplying that up to 30, and it's not, oh, should we go to the ice cream shop or to the beach?
But it's what
Yeah,
yeah.
it's one, but it's not, should we do something fun? It's like, today we're gonna talk about Shakespeare. It's tough. It's a tough gig. It's a
Applaud
tough
the
gig.
teachers.
Absolutely. Let's do that. Yeah, absolutely. Applaud the teachers. So education system, we've given it a little bit of a kick, but we've given it a stroke as well. So
Yeah,
fair play.
everyone's happy.
What else we could talk about? We've got another 5, 6 minutes or so. What else do you want
Talking
to
about
talk about,
unconscious
James?
bias, I think we're gonna come on to that and really develop and that idea around AI, and I think it really does complement the notion we were mooting in our, previous conversation that AI isn't gonna take over, and I don't think it can.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
unconscious bias for me is one of those main reasons.
Hmm.
You know, when you're talking about unconscious bias within
Yeah.
AI in itself, it's not inherently biased. It
It
can't
can't be.
it can't be inherently biased. The reason that unconscious bias is brought into the equation is because it's AI's learned from human created data, you know? And if that data reflects inequalities, stereotypes, imbalances, that's where the unconscious bias brings in from AI. And it's machine learning that's adopting and amplifying the hidden prejudices present in the data that they're trained on. So given examples of this, there's a massive example with Amazon's AI recruiting tool. I think that was between 2014, 2017 that they built the AI system to automate CV
Hmm.
screening,
Yeah.
so to speak. And the model was trained on 10 years of past hiring data, which overwhelmingly was from male candidates, reflecting a male dominated tech industry. So
Yes.
the AI in itself learns to downgrade CVs that
Hmm.
contained indicators of being female, such as the word women's, as an example, or women's chess club captain,
Hmm.
or all women universities, and even penalized resumes with certain keywords more associated with women. So,
Well, even names, even names. I mean,
yeah,
you can often gender someone by their name. I mean, I know there's exceptions to that, but if you're
yeah,
talking about a Dave or a James, you're probably talking about a couple of lads.
yeah, yeah, completely that, and so this is where it can go catastrophically wrong. And that was obviously learning from historical hiring patterns. Um, Another example, I believe a similar thing happened with LinkedIn. So like LinkedIn had a sort of like recommendation system which suggested jobs to users.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that found to be showing higher paying jobs more frequently to men than women. And the failure on that was the bias came from the engagement data that powered those recommendations. Men were more likely to apply for higher paying roles. Women, statistically, based on the data that has been fed into the tool, which because we all know that if you're getting an AI tool for your company, you then have to feed it the data to be able for it to learn, for it to then do the things that the way you want it to do it. And
Yes.
yeah, men were more likely in applying for higher paying roles, which women statistically applied for more conservatively.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where another system completely failed. It was explicitly discriminating, not because AI explicitly discriminates, but it's going on historical data
Well,
and reinforcing patterns of behavior.
it's trained on historical data.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. I think AI, and I know, look, we're episode 3, and we've somehow managed to speak about AI in all 3 of the episodes so far. We should maybe think about changing the name of the show. But I think AI in that context is really interesting because I think it does, and I think it can. And from a recruitment context, obviously, I'm speaking to rec tech, so recruitment technology companies all the time who are touting the next best thing in talent engagement, talent attraction, talent searching, talent filtering. Um, but it does scare me, frankly, and I see time and time again how the probably you could probably say the wrong application of the right technology is inhibiting the successful outcome of that product. So, as an example, as you know, I recruit a lot within IT and generically service desk and help desk positions. So Microsoft is an ever present within that environment, and there's something called Active Directory as an example. Now, if I'm building a parameter for a front end screening system that says I want a short list of applicants that have Active Directory within their CV, then theoretically you'd say, well, that's amazing because you will have people, and it's tough out there. You're going to have chefs, you're going to have taxi drivers, you're going to have teachers, people from all walks of life who apply for the service desk role that don't have the right skills. And actually, they're not going to be right. However, if as an IT professional, you use the acronym AD as opposed to Active Directory, I still want to see you. But
Yeah,
the problem
but the
is, if it's not set up properly, then the Active Directory are coming through, the chefs are being left out. That's cool. I'm happy with that. But so are the people that are calling it AD. I want those guys that say AD. So the technology is good, but it has to be, it's called Boolean searching. It has to be an and or Active Directory or AD. These are one and the same thing. But unless the technology is appropriately set up with the right parameters to actually define whether or not the filter is comprehensive, it's going to fail, and you're going to lose talent because you're trusting technology that hasn't been properly configured and deployed by humans. So,
Yeah, and at the end of the day, even though it may screen, even if you set that up correctly, even if you manage all of the right parameters, even if you get all of the correct CVs in front of you, still AI is not gonna replace because you're still gonna wanna see that person and interview 'em.
so, so we're back to the beginning.
Don't worry, people.
There's still reason for
Again,
people to be kicking around.
an age, not a replacement.
100% an aid, not replacement. And if we go back to the school situation and we can train them better to use AI tools and better to use technology and embrace it.
It's an unbelievable tool. I think, what if we're talking about, like, the school system and things like that, and when people are talking about, "Oh, it's a cheat using AI,"
Mhm.
say to those same people, "Did you use Wikipedia to complete your report on the planets
Mm, mm.
for physics?"
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to humour that, James, because the internet wasn't really about when I was at school. But I'll go. Okay. Did you use a
It
textbook,
No, no,
sir?
no, well, so what it wasn't for me either, sorry, but I would use an
Yeah,
encyclopedia.
yeah, yeah.
I would read books. I would transfer that
There you
knowledge.
go.
Granted, and this is where the fine line is, because we know of companies that, and I've been speaking to companies that, with certain generations and certain people now, that they're basically allowing AI to do everything for them,
Yeah.
and it shows a laziness within that
Oh
application
yeah.
for that role. So where they'll look at the job description, they'll
Hmm.
look at the company, they'll get some information from the company, they will type into AI, "Here is my CV. Please research into this company. Please research into this job role and this job description, and make me seem massively relevant for this job role."
Yeah.
What they will then do is copy and paste. The reason that I did so well in those in school and so well within those reports, I would read the data, I would bring it all up, I would then transfer that in my own words
Yeah.
onto the pages whilst using the information. AI is one of the quickest learning tools that we're ever going to have. It's going to be able to find all that information for you. But yeah, those that have just basically copied and pasted it and put it into a CV and gone, there you go, and not taken out, basically not put their own personality into it, their no hobbies and interests, yeah, they're not gonna be successful within those roles because people are getting very wise to it.
Mm, mm.
If I was to send out I use it myself for when I'm approaching a prospect company. I'll put in, so say it was Tech23. Got a meeting with Tech23, I had an inquiry about X and X. Can you give me their historic well-being training that they may have done at Tech23? Can you give me some interesting points about the company? Can you give me some that put me in the best position to potentially convert this client into a potential sale? I will take that information, but then deliver that in my own way. I'm learning, I'm reading. It's a fast tool for me to get that information because it scouts everything and puts it there in front of me. I will then use that to my advantage to be
Yeah.
able to put myself into a strong position on that pitch.
100%.
But I put my own personality and my own work into it at the same time.
Look, you're always going to sell to a pain point, obviously. So you have to identify why your product or service is going to be valued by and utilized by your target. If you're using AI to find that, then yeah, as you say, same as a Google search, it's just going to do it on turbo. But yeah, I still believe, and this goes back to I think episode 2. We don't want a bot. That's not going to
People
work
buy
for
from
us.
people.
100%, mate. Absolutely. Well, look, my my cup has run dry, and
Mine's almost there.
and therein lies the end of another enjoyable chat, mate. So no, appreciate you joining me again. Interesting stuff as always. No cliffhanger this time. So episode 4, who knows what's coming
Who
next?
knows?
But
It's a surprise.
we'll see where it takes us, mate. But good catching up as always. And yeah, thanks for listening. Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.